y'all, I'm Ellen. We've been super inspired by our journeys of self-healing and discovery.
And I'm Sam, and we want to share our experiences with you to help you get curious about yourself, reconnect, and get intentional about your life so you know what makes you happy.
Welcome to
Ellen's
Woo New,
sound training, or fuck. So, hey everybody, we are so excited to talk to you today about Ellen's weekend. She went to a workshop for sound healing level 1 training. I am so thrilled to ask all the things and have this conversation recorded because I feel like constantly this happens. So I've been holding all my questions for today. Why don't we back up actually and talk about how you became interested in sound healing in general, and then how you found this workshop and what interested you in this workshop.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember when my first ever sound bath was. Shoot, it's been like a number of years now, and I think we were definitely still at Red at the time, but I've always been like, music has just always been in my life, you know, like I think since I was a freaking fetus. Like my mom, I mean, she was a music major in college. She became a piano teacher, you know, in her professional life or whatever. And then like when I was born, I mean, obviously with a mother who's a piano teacher, and also the fact that she was, you know, kind of like this Chinese tiger mom, like music was just definitely, music training was part of my life. So I started learning piano at like 3 or 5 or something like that, something really, really early on. And then I started learning cello when I was in intermediate school. And so, you know, like I learned classical music competitively. Like I was learning how to play piano, learning how to play cello, and it was always for either academic or when I was learning piano, which was way earlier on, you know, like I attended, I don't know, 5 to 8 different piano competitions a year. And so that was always like my
that's
training.
So intense. I had no idea. Like, Ellen, you never talked about that.
I know, because it's something that I just sort of like, I don't know. I have like a weird relationship to it, you know, like I still remember going to a classical concert here at the LA, the Walt Disney Concert Hall, and it was the LA Phil, and there was a soloist. I can't remember who the soloist was, but he was playing the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto No. 1. And like I've played this concerto with in an orchestra, like with a soloist, like at least 3 to 5 times in my life, you know, with different orchestras and stuff. And like, I had not gone to a classical concert in a really long time. This was like maybe 2010 or something like that. And I was bawling my eyes out when I was in that concert because I've kept myself away from my musical upbringing because it was so competitive that I developed this really weird relationship to music when I was a kid, you know, like it was something I had to do. It was almost like going to school. Like I had to do it. I didn't enjoy it. I was just like going through the motions of it. And I think I had a gift and a talent for it. And so I did really well, but it wasn't until I picked up the cello that I really developed a genuine love for the instrument. Like I didn't have that with the piano. And so, you know, now I'm like becoming reacquainted because I went through college and I was a music major for 2 years too, and then decided that that's not for me. I
didn't know that either.
Yeah, music has literally been like my, I don't know, a foundational element in my life. And so, and I didn't, you know, like I think when I steered away from being a music major in college, I was like, you know, this is just not for me. I don't really vibe well with these people. And I just feel like I can't be stuck in a practice studio for like 8 hours a day. It's just like, I don't want my life to be that. And so I veered away from it, not thinking I would ever do anything professionally in music at all. And not that I'm doing anything professionally now, but I think that's why when I went to my first sound bath, it just instantly connected, you know, and it connects with anybody who's, I mean, there's so many people who are just into music anyway. It's just like, you know, like I don't know very, very many people who aren't into music, but sound baths were just such a, I don't know, it just hit me in a very, very deep way. And I found real healing through that experience. And then I remember the first time I ever went to first and only time I've ever been to the Joshua Tree Integratron. Holy shit. I remember the guy was just demonstrating for us the sound bowls. And I had maybe gone to like 2 or 3 sound baths before that experience. And those had already been powerful. But this time we were sitting in this, like basically the belly of what is essentially a huge, like just massive musical instrument. Like you feel like you're in the belly of a guitar or a cello or like some sort of stringed instrument when you're in the Integratron, because the acoustics are just like that. You know, they're just so amazing. And like he was just demonstrating the bowls. He wasn't even like starting the sound bath yet, but he had all like at least 12 to 14 different crystal bowls in front of him, and he just demonstrated the F bowl and started playing it. And I swear to God, like it was this involuntary response. We are all sitting up watching him, and then like as soon as he started playing, my eyes just started watering and I just literally started crying. It was almost like somebody hit this invisible button on me and like released something.
Wow.
And that turned out to be such a powerful sound bath, like one that I had never, it wasn't to this level of like release that I had ever experienced before. And so that really was the thing that I think turned me onto it. And then, you know, as you and I have been going on this whole healing journey that we've been on for the past almost 2 years, you know, I've been doing breath work and, you know, Reiki and all sorts of things. You know, we dabbled in a lot of different stuff, but sound healing was definitely on my list of things to investigate because I connected to it so deeply.
Wow. That's a really powerful story. I remember you telling me about going to Joshua Tree and having that experience. And it's officially like at the top of my list now. So I'm super pumped to go try it.
Dude, let's go together, man. Yeah. I want to go.
I'm so excited.
They book out so fast too. Like you have to literally be there or book online like a month or two in advance now. It's like it's becoming so popular. Like sound healing has become such a popular modality. I think because people connect to music so naturally and you know, it's just a part of our life. Sound is a part of our lives. We're vibrational creatures and beings. Like we just it's just part of us, you know? So it doesn't even really take that much thinking or, you know, like you're just in it.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Like the more that I start to learn about energy and really connect with energy, the more I realize how powerful sound is just through the fact that it exists as like various frequencies and wavelengths and how much that can affect your body.
Oh yeah.
And it's all about just, you know, finding balance across all of these different energies. And I love combining different kinds of, you know, I like experiment on my own with different types of like sound healing that I find, you know, or that I hear about in podcasts or that I find online when I'm meditating and doing Reiki. And it's just like, it's so powerful.
Yeah. And it's like, it's so innate, right? It's like so inherent in us that I don't think it's like with all the other things that we've been doing, there's like, I'm not saying that there's not technique here. It's just, it's like with breathing, you know, with breath work, like you have to breathe. There's work, you know. Mm-hmm. With Reiki, you're laying there and you're receiving, which is really, really amazing. But even like Sid, for instance, the way she practices Reiki, you're doing work, you know, you're like actively kind of having this dialogue back and forth. And with sound healing, I do feel like you're laying there and things are happening and energy is being broken down and pushed through you. It's just another, I guess I consider it almost kind of like, it's like sonic Reiki.
Yeah, that's so rad. So, okay, so we've like touched on quite a few different kinds of sound healing, even since we started this conversation. I know like we tried that primordial meditation with Mecca, and you've been integrating sound bowls into your breathwork practice for a long time. We've gone to, you know, breathwork sessions that at other places, like with May, where she does it in the salt caves and she uses tuning forks in the bowls. So what specific kind of sound healing was this that you were learning about this weekend?
So I think the way I would explain it, and obviously I'm still at the very, very beginning of this journey too, but the way I understand it, I mean, it's all sound healing. So each one of those things that we've experienced so far is just one tool within the big umbrella of sound healing. So you can literally mix and match, do all of it, do 2 things, do 5 things, you know what I mean? It really is up to, it's like very intuitive, just like everything else we've been learning. Like whatever it is that you connect to as a sound healer, you pull out of your arsenal and you use.
Wow.
You know, so like we got full demonstrations this weekend on on the crystal bowls, like the crystal quartz bowls. She demonstrated the alchemy bowls, which are basically crystal quartz bowls that are dipped in gemstones. Um, and then we got a demonstration on like the Tibetan, which we actually learned the correct term is actually Himalayan, but those gold, metal bowls.
Yeah.
So those are another, tool. And then we got a demonstration on the big, they're not singing bowls, but they're big gold metal bowls. Like they're like that you put on your body for the vibration.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of like
what
tuning
May
forks.
did.
Exactly. So with those and the tuning forks work very similarly, where they're creating vibration. I mean, they're all creating vibration, but you're actually putting these instruments on the body directly onto the body, and so you're letting that vibrate. It's just much more intense. So with the bowls, you're putting it on your stomach or putting on your hand, your like really anywhere. They have different size bowls and stuff, but you could put it on your belly, you could put it like on your chest, over your heart. You could put it on your arm, your hand, your feet, and you just kind of hold it in place and you strike it, and that vibration kind of travels through the body. From what I understand, it's like the vibration is actually creating a certain frequency, right? And you're entraining the body, which is basically like you're taking your body's vibration or frequency and entraining it to the bowl's frequency, and kind of like, whether it's a healing frequency or like a opening frequency, and the same thing's happening with the tuning forks. Like those tuning forks, you strike it and you put it either close to the ear, or you can actually put it directly on meridian points or chakra points. And that is just almost like a pinpoint. Think of it as like a pinpoint bowl. It's like just like straight that one area. So I've had that done to me before by somebody who only used the tuning forks, and she was going around. It's almost like doing acupuncture, but with tuning forks instead of needles.
I have so many questions.
I know. I know. This is like, I realize this is like it's like a rabbit hole of its own, that you can like keep on going and going and going and probably never touch everything.
So, okay, how was the weekend structured? And I guess what sound healing tools did you resonate with the most?
So she started out by teaching us vocal toning, where it's like you basically, I mean, you're using your voice, which is the most powerful instrument of all. And you're like, you're singing, and so your voice creates vibration, is creating sound. And like, that's actually enough. That's really all you need. Anybody could be a sound healer for themselves, just simply by using their voice. And so we were sitting and we basically sang and directed sound and breath into each one of our chakras, starting with our root all the way up to our crown.
How did you do that?
So there's like a sound associated to each chakra. And so you sing that sound. So like the root is like, you make the sound. So it's like, if I could do this, oh my God. I took a deep breath. Like, and you just extend that all the way out, and we did it 3 times with our eyes closed, obviously sitting, kind of in meditation pose. And after each one, you took another deep breath and you said that again, and then on the third one, she told us to breathe into our root chakra and then breathe out. And then we moved on to our sacral, which is the ooh sound. So you're like, ooh, take a deep breath and you sing that note. It's not even a note. It's that you sing that sound, and then you do that 3 times and you go all the way up, so every single chakra has its own sound. So sacral is ooh, solar plexus is oh, heart is ah, throat is I, third eye is I, and then you have to put your tongue on the top of your the roof of your mouth. So it's like I, and see how that sound kind of changes. So you do that for third eye, and then crown is a high pitched E. And so you do each of those 3 times with like deep breaths in between each. And then at the end of each one, you breathe into that chakra and then you move on to the next. At the very end, what she had us do was do the whole thing all together. So you start with the root and like, it's like, oh, and you're going all the way up, and you do that 3 times. And it's called vocal toning. Dude, after this, because I came in sort of out of sorts on Sunday morning, and we did this both mornings, Saturday and Sunday. But on Sunday, after doing this, and then she led us through kind of like a grounding exercise of like, imagine a root kind of growing from the base of your spine, rooted to the ground. Like I felt like a new person. So
Wow.
this is something that anybody can learn, and you could just literally do it on your own. If you need to like ground yourself, align your energy, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
just it's you just use your voice. You don't even need a crystal bowl, like this is honestly just as powerful. And she opens up her sound baths like that too. So she'll have everybody sit up and they all vocal tone together and then they lay down and do the sound bath.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, on the third breath, when you breathe in to your chakra and you exhale, do you still make the sound on the exhale, or are you just focusing on breathing in and out of that chakra?
You just focus on breathing in and out in silence.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you've had sound bowls for a while. So did you bring your sound bowls, or did you just use her tools and did it change anything that you knew about them or that you thought you knew about them before?
So I didn't bring any of my bowls. She had like 3 sets kind of set up. And honestly, we got to play, but the whole weekend was more about, it was like drinking from the fire hose. Like it was about learning and intaking all this information and a little bit of like hands-on playing, the first one I had done the sound lab last year, where it was my first ever experience with the any sort of like bowls or sound healing. After which I actually bought my alchemy bowls. That one was much more playing with very, very little information. So I'm happy that I did both, actually. I realized that every sound healing practitioner has their own relationship to the bowls or to any of these instruments. So they use it in their own intuitive way. But there are ways to play the bowls that will get a certain sound out. And there's kind of some technique to it as well. And then how you piece it together is kind of more intuitive, but there is a rhyme and reason also to when you play dissonant chords together or dissonant notes together. And then when you play harmonics together, there's like a whole like rationale. Like dissonance actually breaks up energy in the body. It's like kind of harsh, so you don't want to stay on it too long, but there's a point in a sound bath where you do that first, and then you kind of follow it up with harmonics to flush the energy through and to like kind of align everything. So that's the way it kind of works. But I did realize like the way she plays her bowls, she could sustain a note for a really long time by continuing to circle around and slowing down and speeding up how quickly she's using the mallet across, like rubbing the mallet across the surface of the rim. Mm-hmm. Whereas my other teacher from last year, he was kind of teaching us to just like get the sound going and then just sort of almost like throw it. It's like release the mallet and just let the sound ring out, And so I appreciate learning what Michelle had to learn or had to teach us with, just like watching her play, like the way she sort of played it was a little bit different. And then she also had all these different mallets, and this is where it gets a little technical, but I only have these like suede mallets with my bowls. I realized there's silicone or rubber mallets that, oh my God, it doesn't create the hiss sound. Like when you're the sound that is created rubbing against the bowl, like it completely mitigates that. So I just bought myself a pair of those like mallets. And then larger, thicker mallets create different strike sounds than, smaller mallets. I mean, it's like, this is a whole thing too. It's like just even getting the right mallets to play, you either do different sounds. So that is a whole thing in and of itself.
Yeah, that's super important, I feel like, too, because I'm hypersensitive to sound. And I have been around people who just have haphazardly bought bowls and then they just start like, I'm like doing air quotes right now because they start playing them, but it's really this like very jarring, like almost like a high pitched screeching more than the notes that they're typically supposed to be. Yeah. Every time that happens, I'm like, oh my God, what's happening to my eardrums right now?
Yeah.
And that can cause some serious damage, I feel like, if you're not careful about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's for sure is a thing. And we got a lot of not warnings, but just, Michelle brought that up a lot too, like where she has encountered people who haven't really had formal training in this. And you can tell right away. She was telling us a story about how somebody wanted to play with her, and they were not as thoughtful about, like, who plays when and that kind of thing. And if you have two people playing at one time, for instance, like, unless one person's following the other person and that's their role, like, and almost kind of like playing the notes to sort of support the other person, you could create a lot of dissonance in there, which is
Yeah.
not good. Like it serves a role, but like, you also need to bring people out of it. And Michelle really stressed transitions to us, like how to bring a sound in slowly and make it really gentle, and and how to bring a sound out. You don't just stop playing. You have to guide people out. It's like a whole, I don't know. It's like massage too. Like, if you're massaging somebody, or like, or like, let's say Reiki, like you don't just immediately stop. There's like a slowdown, right? Like we
Yeah.
even talked about that with Mecca, where she's like, there's like a coming back period at the end where she, that transition is really, really, really important. And not everybody emphasizes that. They just kind of throw you out of a meditation, and, it's like, okay, thanks for
Yeah.
coming. So transitions were really stressed hard this weekend, which I really appreciated.
Are you going to change the way you integrate sound healing into your breathwork practice?
I used to do these mini sound baths with just the bowls because I had the bowls, but now I got all these other fun instruments that I want to incorporate. And I learned that, like, we talked a little bit about dissonance versus harmony or harmonics. So, and the roles that they play. We also got to play with gongs. We also got to play with drums. We also got to play with all these, like, kind of what they call noise instruments. And I'll like demonstrate a few of those, but like each of them serves a role. And she kind of gave us what you experience in her sound baths, where she starts with a drum, because drums are entrancing, like, so it puts you into a trance with the beat. And then she moves on to the gongs, and the gongs just kind of like, I think they just sort of like open you up a little bit more. It's these like really deep sounds, and they drop you in even deeper. So it's like these gongs are like next after the drums. And then she goes into this like series of like dissonance with the singing bowls and things like that. And then she, has a period of like bringing in what she calls like a noise instrument, which will clear out the energy. So a noise instrument. So I got this thing called the wave drum this weekend it simulates the sound of the ocean. So I'll just play this for a second just so you can hear what it sounds like. It's basically this big drum that has a bunch of like little beads in it.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with that.
Right? I also got this chime thing that's like really beautiful. It's like kind of like a wind chime, but this is also an example of something that you would use at the very, very end after the harmonics section.
Oh my God, as soon as you started playing that.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
It's just like these angelic kind of sounds. And this helps to clear the energy. So you can mix this together, and like kind of like as you reduce one sound, you bring another one up. And I can like walk with this to everybody and put it over their heads and near their ears and stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that beautiful? And they had different chimes that had different notes, so this one specifically plays F, A, and D, and G. And then I also got this other thing called the tingsha, which you use at the beginning, at the end. And this, I realized, was what I was obsessed with when I did my psychedelic cannabis journey a few weeks back. During the sound bath portion of that, she was playing this thing, and I kept on thinking to myself, oh my God, play it again, play it again. It felt so good. Like it felt like a full body high. So this I'm going to for sure incorporate into my breath work, and also at the end of a sound bath. But this is the tingsha. It's just this really beautiful high pitch, and you just kind of like let it ring out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really great way to end. Um, and then I also got these Ohm tuning forks. These are actually part of her own instrument like library. Like she makes these, or she has people make these for her. Um, but I got two of them, and the idea is that I can use both of them and put it on either side of your ear. So I would basically do the whole sound bath, and with like the ting, like I would probably do the tingsha at the very end, but then this tuning fork portion would be right after, let's say, the chime. I'm excited to put it all together.
That's awesome. What did you think was the most inspirational part about the workshop?
The most inspiring thing actually didn't even happen during the actual workshop. It was after we left home or left the workshop on Saturday. I had to go to like a Lunar New Year party, and then afterwards we came home, and like the next morning we all got together and we shared what happened the night before. And I two of us, like this happened to me and this other girl. Two of us actually had fights with our partners. We had ended Saturday playing the gong, and obviously we had a full day of just like intaking all these different sounds and whatever, you know. And when you're in it, it's not like you don't think much about it. You're just like, okay, I'm taking in a lot of sounds or whatever. But I failed to realize until the next morning just how sensitive the sounds had made me. And like
Oh.
that's what caused, I think, two of us to have fights. A couple of us also didn't sleep well. And Michelle purposely didn't close us out on Saturday night just so we can feel what it feels like to not to leave like ungrounded and like a little bit, just out of sorts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually taught us a lot about what the sound can actually do to you. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until we realized like, oh shit, it's actually really powerful. It could completely change your state of being, you know,
Yeah.
um, which shows how powerful it can be in a healing setting.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, it's
That's a
really
really powerful lesson and also a little risky.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's like, but I kind of appreciated seeing it because then I started thinking back and like, oh wow. And looking at like what we had gone to fight over, which was like not that big of a deal. It's like all things that needed to be said or whatever. But I noticed that like, oh, I think I am a little bit more sensitive than usual because it made me realize like, oh, maybe the sound and like all these things opened me up in that way.
Yeah.
And then when we were doing the vocal toning on Sunday, and like I came in kind of a little bit out of sorts, right? We did the vocal toning, and I was having a really hard time with my throat chakra, singing the throat note or the throat sound the day before,
Uh-huh.
and this time it was fine. Like it kind of cracked a little bit at the end of the three, I sounds,
Uh-huh.
and then we had to take a breath, and I, breathe into the throat. I had to swallow, which meant like, okay, there's something still a little bit in there, but it was a lot clearer than the day before. And when we went around and shared, Michelle pointed out, she's like, it's probably clear for you because you got a chance to actually express yourself last night, even if it's, in the form of a fight or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, that's actually really true. And so it just made me also realize how powerful vocal toning is. And like when you do vocal tone, if you practice it at home and you sing each note, or sorry, each sound for each chakra, then you can tell through the way your voice either wavers or if it like cracks or if it like you kind of lose your breath a little too soon or it's harder for it to come out, like which chakras are blocked.
Whoa, that's so cool.
I know it's such a powerful tool.
Well, I cannot wait to experience it. This is incredible.
I know. It's like I literally can go on and on and on, but I feel like this is the start of my journey with sound healing. Like my legit real start. And now that I have a few extra tools, I can put it together and have like a pretty sufficient like sound bath. I've had many people tell me, who've I facilitated for that like the sound bath part of it, I mean, it goes so hand in hand with breath work, but it's such a great way to just reground and actually even extend your journeying past the breathwork portion. You just go so
Yeah.
much deeper, right?
Yeah, I really felt like it was when you were doing the sound portion in my last breathwork session with you, it was so relaxing, but it also felt like, okay, anything that, I loosened up through this breath work is just this is just like helping me pass it and integrating like anything that I learned.
Exactly. So I feel like, breathwork is already a really powerful tool or modality, and sound is also a very powerful modality on its own. But dude, mix it together. And I even think it's the same thing with Reiki, like Reiki and sound healing, like holy
Mm-hmm.
shit. We had two people in the class that were Reiki masters. And I'm excited to see that. I don't think I've seen that as much. I think during a sound bath, maybe somebody will go through and do Reiki, but I'm curious even if somebody like does a Reiki session and then does a sound bath to like push the energy through and break up more of the loose energy, like what happens then.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Or even to do a sound bath at the beginning.
The sky's the limit. I think the magic is when you start mixing and matching and creating something even more powerful with how you're implementing them into the practice.
Absolutely. So, oh my gosh, that sounds like such an amazing weekend.
Yeah, it was cool. I definitely want to go through level 2 and on and on and on and get myself a gong or two eventually.
I love it. I love it.
I need a space. Oh my God. I just need a bigger space.
So perfect.
For all these things. But yeah, I mean, I'm even thinking like one of these days incorporating my cello into that as well would be amazing.
Wow. That would be so cool.
Yeah. And have Adam integrate his like guitar into it. I mean, again, sky's the limit. Like Michelle will have violinists and flautists come and they're part of the sound bath. There's a portion where they play and they integrate into it. And, we learn a big difference between music and sound. It's a lot of it has to do with intention. And so it's not that these musical instruments can't be incorporated, right. It's just the intention becomes a little bit different in a sound bath.
Oh my gosh. That sounds magical.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just the beginning.
So awesome.
Music for Wu Nu is composed by Adam Miller.